First, let's talk a little bit about the difference between oil paints and other common types of paint, like watercolor, gouache, and acrylics. Oil paints dry very slowly. It can take days for layers of oil paint to dry completely. Oil paints are oil-based, which means they require a primed surface. Otherwise, they will eventually eat through any fabric or surface. Water and oil don't mix, so oil paints are not water-soluble. This means you have to use different chemicals to clean, remove, or thin down oil paints. Watercolor, gouache, and acrylics dry quickly, usually within a few hours. They are water-based and don't require a primed surface, so you can apply these paints straight onto most surfaces. They're also water-soluble, so they can be cleaned or thinned down using regular water. Now let's talk about the difference between student-grade and artist-grade paint. In a nutshell, student-grade paints contain less pigment and more filler, so the quality of the paint is lower, and you may run out of paint faster because you end up having to use more of it. The upside is that they're a lot cheaper than artist-grade paints, so they're perfect for beginners. Artist-grade paints contain more pigment, which means the color is more vibrant, and the paint will last longer since you don't have to use as much. They're quite pricey though, so it's recommended that you start using these once you're comfortable with oil painting and you're ready to invest more on supplies. To clean your brushes, make sure you don't use super warm water or it will soften the glue that holds the bristles together. Add soap or cleaner and press down all the way to the base of the bristles where most of the paint collects. Be careful not to spread the bristles out, just swipe the bristles around under running water without abusing them until the water runs clean. A cool trick I learned from Carol Marine's book is to use half of a tennis ball instead of your hand when you're cleaning your brushes. This is a great idea because oil paint isn't very healthy for your skin, so the less contact you have with it, the better. When you're ready to dry your brushes, make sure you remove any excess moisture at the base of the bristles and let your brushes dry flat overnight. Or even better, you can use a rubber band to hang your brushes upside down on a towel rack like this. This will help your brushes last longer. There are lots of palette options out there. You can use palette paper on its own. It's disposable and easy to use. I like to use this Tupperware with the palette paper pad inside, so I can seal my palette and keep my paints from drying overnight. Once I'm ready for a clean palette, I just remove the old one and toss it. You could also use a glass or a frame like this. Just be careful not to let the paint dry, or you will have a hard time scraping it off. There are lots of soaps and cleaners you can use to clean your brushes and other materials. I like using dish soap, but Carol Marine suggests using oil soap, so I'll be trying it once I run out of dish soap. There are also other brush cleaners you can try. I've tried a few and I don't really like any of them, but I suggest you try them out to find out what your preference is. Thinners and solvents can be used for different things, like thinning down the paint, rinsing out your brushes as you work, and removing wet paint from a surface. There are many options out there, some more toxic and flammable than others. I highly recommend you do your research before you choose one to make sure the product meets your specific needs. Mediums are used to speed up or slow down the drying process. They can also add a matte or glossy finish or add texture to the paint. There are so many different mediums, I can't list them all, but if you're wondering what something is for, usually the label will explain what it is and what it does. Otherwise, you can talk to someone that works at a local art store or do some research online for more information. You can pretty much paint on any surface with oils as long as it's primed. You can find lots of pre-made painting surfaces like stretch canvas, canvas board, wood panels, and so on at art stores. Or you can make your own for a lot cheaper and a little bit more labor. To prime a surface, all you need is gesso and a large brush. I'll be showing you how to build painting surfaces and how to prime them in future videos. I keep my thinner in a glass jar. I really like the silicone brush cleaning tank because it comes with a coil inside, which makes rinsing my brush out very easy when I'm working. If you're on a budget, you can use a mason jar or any kind of recycled glass jar with a sealable lid.
So creepy. Hi! So I have a few more things that you should probably keep in mind if you're gonna start painting with oils. So first thing, make sure you have good ventilation in your room. When you work with oil paints, you work with a lot of chemicals and things that have fumes and they're not very healthy for you. So just make sure your painting room has good ventilation. Try not to leave your brushes with paint on them overnight because the paint will dry and it'll make your bristles really hard. If that does end up happening, you can soak it in solvent or cleaner for a few hours, but if you do this a few times, you'll end up ruining your brushes. So be careful with your brushes. Try to treat them well and clean them after you're done painting. Oil paints are really hard to clean, so make sure you wear an apron or wear a t-shirt that you don't really care about. I always end up getting some kind of paint or gesso on my stuff and then I can't wear them anymore. I suggest that you use rags to clean your brushes instead of paper. The rags just hold it better. You should also use rags to wipe your hands when you're working. Make sure that you're wiping your hands and washing them if you get a lot of paint on them. You don't want to dump your solvents or thinners down the drain once you're done using them, once they're like gunky and dirty. You can collect it in a separate jar or a separate metal can. So it requires a little bit of research, but it's important to dispose of hazardous materials like solvents and thinners appropriately because they are dangerous. You can do a little bit of research and find out if there is a household hazardous waste collection site in your town or near you. You can give them a call and find out if they take the type of solvent and stuff that you have. You should do the same thing with your dirty rags. Make sure you don't cause an explosion or something. You can always ask somebody that works at a local art store about how they deal with it and get some actual advice from somebody more experienced in this than me. Okay, well that's all I have for today and I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for a lot more tutorials and fun stuff to come very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!